I'm Cameron Hardcastle. This is Whitney
Whitney.
Hardcastle. Our trade is heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. I've been in the trade since 2004. Started our company in 2019 with a old work truck and a couple of service calls, and away we went. Now we have 5. This week we have 5 employees. Next week we'll have 6, and then including Whitney and I.
Including us 2 more, so 7.
So 8.
8. Yeah.
Very cool.
On the books.
Tell us about what life was like before you joined the $1 Million Tradie program and what you were looking to improve in your business.
You know, I was pretty fortunate to have some coaching through other companies. So I had a little bit of an idea, but I was flying blind. I had no idea why my numbers looked the way they looked, or if I was reading them correctly. Had no idea where to take the business. I had no idea where to invest our very little resources. I didn't know what to do next, really. I was just lost. But working a lot of hours, as we all do, trying to take on every role, and just kind of doing everything by braille. You know, whatever works, I stuck to, and if it didn't work, I tried not to do that again.
Yeah. So tell us about what you were feeling. So what hats were you wearing before you kicked off? What were the hours?
Okay, so at the time we kicked off, I had just moved one of my guys into an ops manager position, but right before that, I had 2 installers, 1 service tech, and so I was doing all the sales calls, I was doing all the permitting, I was doing all the parts, I was dispatch. Whitney did payroll, and she was the liaison between us and our accountant, because we don't really speak that language either. And I mean, it was just I don't know the hours I was working. I was just working till the work was done.
Yeah.
You know,
It was late.
Usually missed whatever was going on in the evening.
Yeah.
Usually missed dinner or whatever.
Games, practices,
Was there to
all that.
put the kids to bed.
There's a different story going on this side.
Yeah,
I feel.
it was late. It would be like me going out in the shop at 8 o'clock. Are you gonna come in tonight? You know, like dinner's waiting. You know,
Yeah.
but it was long hours for sure.
And you guys have a 11-year-old and a 9-year-old and a 13-year-old, right? So pretty tough.
13, 11, and 9, 3
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah. So how was that, not having Dad around to?
That's a difficult subject for me, because I did miss a
lot,
bunch, and
yeah. Over the years.
for a couple years, really. Since 2019, it was just me, and then I hired Blaze, and Blaze and I worked 7 days a week, and sun up to sundown, and then when we started getting a little bit of a break, we said, hey, you know, maybe we should hire some help, because we kind of like taking our Sundays off. You know, that's kind of nice. And it was like that up until last year, right?
Yeah.
Till we got on with PT, and PT basically told us, hey, it's okay to take some time off. You know, get it in your default calendar, have lunch with your wife, go pick your kids up from school once a week or whatever, and in that default calendar, I'm off at 5. I'm not, you know, unless it's just a dire emergency, I'm gone.
What a killer change, man.
Yeah.
It feels like what you were saying there is you didn't actually feel like you had permission to stop working.
Well, I felt guilty.
Yeah.
You know, I just felt like if I got off early, it was like, well, I could be back in there. I could get a jump on this project or that, or, you know, I could make this phone call. I could just get a few more things done. Before you know it, you were in there for another 2 hours.
Yeah.
You know, on the computer, and missed whatever. Or, you know, that becomes more important than taking your kids to practice or seeing a game or
Yeah.
whatever happens. You know.
I'd love to dig into the mindset shift there pretty soon. Just before we do that, tell us about the biggest changes that you've made in the business.
The default calendar is so funny, because it just seems like such a simple thing to
Yeah.
do, was so difficult for us.
Took us forever to do it. Actually, we were like sat there and
I'll
looked
try
at
and
it
help you feel a
forever.
bit more comfortable.
Yeah.
Has anybody else struggled to get the default calendar running perfectly
Yeah.
for them? You're
Yeah.
not alone.
So getting the default calendar in and actually following that default calendar, and then realizing that default calendar is liquid, you can change it. You know, when the kids got out of school for the summer, the default calendar we just stopped. It was like, well, I've got to go over here and do the sales call. I got to do this, and she's like, well, I've got the kids, and I got to do this, and we're like, well, that time's not going to work for us anymore. So, you know, we talked to our people on our Q&A, and they were like, well, yeah, change it. And we're like,
Oh, yeah.
oh,
Didn't
yeah,
know
I
we
guess
could
we
do
could
that.
change it.
Nice.
We put in an AR process. We put in a terms of trade that go on every single estimate, and basically, to put it in a nutshell, it's, you know, I want a 75% deposit, and we won't even put you on the schedule until we get that deposit. And if you want to negotiate, it has to be in writing, and it's a whole thing. And our cash flow went from scary to very, very comfortable. I just had an email the other day. The gal said, you know, I 75%, and I said, well, if you look at the terms, it says it in the terms that you accepted, but this is the writing. We can do 50%. I'll accept that. And
Good.
she said, okay, great. And then she sent me a check for 75%.
Great.
So I went, okay.
Was it tough to get over the hurdle of deciding that you were worth getting the 75% in before?
It
starting?
really is.
A lot of people struggle with that.
Yeah, I think it's probably an ego thing.
So what would you say to everyone that's struggling to ask for deposits?
Do it. Get out there and hold your ground, and call and remind them. We send out a deposit invoice at least 14 days before the job if we're booked out that far. I reach out to them again, and then I reach out to them and I say, hey, you know, I haven't ordered your equipment. It's 7 days. We got to have your deposit today, even though I've probably already ordered it. I probably already own it, but I want them to get that deposit in before we start our job. It's really following up, because if they can get away without paying it, they will. Recently, we got our phones switched over to a VoIP program, and that's been a game changer, especially for this week being gone. My ops manager is a rock star, and he's answered every phone call and answered every voicemail, and just getting taken care of.
Nice. So you can just disconnect and do this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect.
I mean, it still rings my phone, but I just ignore it and let it go to him. I still got to have some, you know, I want to know what's going on, so I don't know. This is pretty disconnected for me.
Yeah,
Good change.
it is.
There's something in the I know what's going on, but I could ignore it, because that's actually very difficult for a lot of people, right? How did you get that change?
Trusting my ops manager that he'll take care of it, and you know, not everything's an emergency. And when I first started my company, because my name's on it, I was just Johnny on the spot. As soon as you call, I'll be there. I'll skip whatever I got to skip, and I'll get over there and I'll get you taken care of, because I want to build a reputation that I'm your guy. You know, I'm your heating and cooling guy, and I'll drop what I'm doing. And that's been difficult to get away from and allow my guys to just handle that kind of stuff. You know.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Any other changes that come to mind?
Definitely more free time at home. I think in my Q&A I told you guys that I was assistant coach for, God, I can't do this, for my kids' flag football team.
Yeah.
I told them that I wasn't going to commit to anything, and I made every practice and I made every game, and they were calling me coach, you know. So and getting off at a decent time, that made that possible. And my goal next spring is to coach the team myself, and try to get, you know, and me and my boys hung out so much after that, and I really did miss a lot of small details with the boys, you know, watched them grow up, and change, and get weird little habits, and God, the things they say. It's been a really wonderful thing. And then one other thing that, you know, going through this PT process and trying to build the company, as I brought Whitney into the company, because she really had no idea what I was doing. She had no idea my daily struggles. She always wondered why I was such in a bad mood, and a little bit upset. And bringing her in, she gets to see the whole picture now, and I can delegate a little bit of that to her, and she can help me through a lot of the struggles. We battle everything together now. I wasn't communicating my daily struggles with her mostly because she wouldn't understand. She'd be like, well, just call them and collect your credit card. Like, what's the problem here, you know? Well, then tell them to pay, you know?
Wish it was that easy.
You know, well, and then I'd explain something technical, and she'd go, well, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't understand that. Just fix it. So before I brought her in, it was really difficult for me to express, and so I would just keep it here, and I was just agitated all the time. I just pissed off for no reason. The littlest things would set me off, and I'd walk around, and you know what, just leave me alone. I'm gonna go sit in my chair and drink and watch TV or something, and then we'll start this all over tomorrow morning, and I'll just keep producing. Don't worry about what I'm doing. You know, kind of a thing. It was not pretty. But you know, now that she's in here, I can explain to her, and I can vent, and she can vent back, and we can come up with a plan, and we can go, okay, write that in the Q&A questions.
Yeah,
We'll ask the guys,
that's fine.
you know. So
That's such a good shift, man.
yeah, with all the time we've spent and telling myself to be off by 5, and bringing her in and being more connected with her more than ever, God, we've made more money than we ever have. You know, we can concentrate on other things. We've worked on sales processes. We don't have anything in writing yet, but you know, we land more jobs, and with all the stuff I've delegated to my guys, they've just taken it on. They haven't squawked. They haven't complained. They haven't done anything. They've just really taken it on really, really well.
Wicked. We've gone into some of this a little bit, but tell us about some of the results of the changes that you've made. That might be, you know, profit, cash, time,
Oh yeah, yeah. I
relationship.
think we went over that.
Yeah, I was gonna say family time, and
Whitney and I are closer than we've
Yeah.
been. We've been married for.
because he was always coming home so grumpy and stuff, and at least when I'm out there, I can see all that and come in and like we can just figure it out together and not. Otherwise, it was like he just bottled it all up. He wouldn't even talk about it.
Yeah, you guys have all
Yeah.
been there. You don't want to talk about it. You want to
Yeah.
spill everything. It's like, I've got it, but it
Yeah.
really does put you in a pretty sour mood.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to be around you when you're like that. And you don't want to be around anybody else. And frankly, you know, when you don't have anybody to talk to or really bounce ideas and help, going through what we went through before PT, I had a couple of friends that owned a couple of businesses, and they just don't understand your struggles and what you're going through.
Yeah.
So the Q&As for me are my own therapy session. I get to listen to everybody, and I don't feel so alone. I don't feel like I'm failing because, you know, first quarter was pretty rough for us, and it sounds like it was pretty rough for a lot of people. And you know, we thought, what the hell are we doing wrong? And then to hear, you know, everybody's kind of having the same struggles, you're like, okay, well, you know, it's not me. You know, it's not all me. It's some of me. But you know, it's really therapeutic to have a group of people that understand everything you're going through, and so that translates into just being in a better mood. And I mean, frankly, less
Guidance,
you know.
and help
I mean,
with
I was
that, yeah.
I was drinking every night, and just to forget and just to be able to sleep, you know. And it's a pretty rough time. You know, we got through it though. We've been married for 17 years. 17 years, been together for 20.
There'd be a lot of people
Gonna see if
that,
he can
And
get
so
it.
there was a little bit of a divide there, you know, and it was like, I run the company, you run the house, and we're a good team. But
Yeah.
you know, now we both run the company, we both run the house. Any chance I can get to get off a little bit early and go pick up the kids from school, or I love taking my boys to football practice and watching them do that. Just makes my day. And I'll come in tired, and she'll be like, "Are you sure you want?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, absolutely." You know, let's go.
sounds like you're working a lot better as a team now. So there'd be a lot of husband and wife partners that run businesses together. What would you say? Like, is there anything specific that you've done apart from the boundaries that you've set around just stopping at 5? Is there anything particular that stands out to you that you've done that's helped you two work better as a team, so that you can connect better and be better as a husband-wife team, parenting team?
I mean, really bringing her in and showing her everything.
So I fully understood everything, and just getting that help with, you know, our ops manager and all that, just being able to take some workload off him, and then I do that same and take some stuff off his plate.
Yeah,
So.
the first time she saw our AR, and then I broke it down for her who it was. There were some customers in there that she knows, and she was like, "That son of a bitch, you better pay us."
Yeah, and I don't cuss.
I'm like, "Now you know how I feel." So,
Yeah. Then you get riled up and get the money.
Oh yeah, and then it
Yeah.
motivates us both. And she
Both,
goes, "Hey,
yeah.
did you get this? And hey, maybe we should try this." Or
Sending out mail
yeah.
to try and get
Now,
customers.
yeah,
and
now we have an AR process, and she's part of that process. She prints them off and mails them out and sends little letters with them.
Good. Strong.
Yeah.
Nice. And so you were talking before about cash flows improved
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot too. Yeah. So where was it, and then like how's it looking now in comparison?
We didn't even know what was happening. We didn't know our numbers. We didn't know anything.
We judged our whole company based on
What
our
was in
liquid
that account.
cash.
Yeah.
And not understanding
healthy.
anything but the bottom line on our P&Ls, which were not accurate at the time. Where we were at, we took a loan out to make payroll.
Yeah.
And I had the thought, I'm gonna fire everybody. I'm
Yeah.
gonna fire everybody. I'm gonna jump in the van and do the myself.
Yeah.
And Whitney had to reel me back and said, "Hey, that's not our goal. That's not where we want to be. Let's get through this." We took the loan out. We basically committed to paying $10,000 a month on this loan, and we got it paid off after that. So there for a while, it was just get enough money in there for payroll.
Yeah.
And then we made some different changes. We raised our prices. We got our AR stuff figured out. We started collecting deposits religiously, and
All because of PT.
Yeah, we made a goal to have a certain amount of money in there by January. We've met that goal. We had almost $200,000 in liquid cash there for a while, just because of all the deposits that got paid.
Yeah.
And we're still well above where we want to be by January. We want to just keep that up. But
What
really,
a turnaround, team. Well done.
yeah, really just being very strict on your AR process.
Yeah.
And your terms of trade.
Yeah.
with
Just running it and not getting emotionally caught in there. Right?
Oh yeah, I'll get it whenever. I don't do that anymore.
Yeah, but that's a big change, so well done. Tell us, what do you think the biggest mindset changes you've had to make through this whole process to get where you are now?
Letting others do the work. Delegating to my guys and trusting them that they'll do the work, but also following up with them and making sure that they're doing what they're told. And I got rid of my phone number, and I had that phone number for 20 years. I've had that phone number for 20 years, and the company just adopted it, and now it goes to my my management program, my customer management program. And honestly, I thought it was going to be a really difficult thing for me, but if I'm being honest, I felt like maybe I had a shackle unlatched, and now I have this new phone number, and now the company has that responsibility, and it's not just me anymore. Now my company has that phone number.
Yeah. It
And
sounds
so-
like if you had a few shackles actually unleashed from this chat, man.
Oh yeah,
Very cool. Nice.
yeah.
Anything else come to mind? Other mindset shifts?
Mindset shifts.
Think so.
We're not as nice to people
Yeah.
anymore.
Got that figured out.
Tell us
It's our
about that.
money,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Whenever you get it,
No.
get me paid or whatever. No, we send out little letters, and they're not that nice.
And don't put them on the schedule if they don't pay that deposit.
We fired customers,
Yeah.
and that's just not something that I ever wanted to do. And
Yeah.
and you just have to sometimes. We have a customer, we have a few now that were just non-payers or really, really slow payers, or we had to threaten a mechanical lien on one house, and finally got paid on that, thanks to PT and another Q&A,
Yeah.
Help
giving
with
us
that.
ideas to help figure that out. Got that figured out and done, and I guess we're just not as lenient with people anymore, because it's more about the business surviving and being healthy than it is, because I can take a non-payment myself, and we'll be fine, but it really hurts the business now when we're so laxed with
Yeah.
our customers.
When you make one exception, you start to make more
Yeah.
anyway too.
Right, yeah.
So a lot of people struggle with this. There's a lot of people-pleasing mentality that happens. What helped you make that shift to actually being less nice? But really, what you've done is you've created policy and you follow policy. What's made the shift for you?
Get strict on your payment. You know, we thought our company was pretty healthy because we always had a bunch of money in there in the account, and then we hit kind of a slow time and we burned through that money really quick. Just expect that, you know, just be ready for that. And you know, that one contractor that owes you $10,000, that's your guy's payroll. That's going to be their house payment, you know. So don't let that slip.
Good.
You know, get on them.